Hey guys! Okay, so today's video is going to be my personal do's and don'ts for how to create a character that your readers will empathize with immediately and be able to relate to. These, again, are my personal do's and don'ts, so if any of these don't resonate with you guys, then feel free to disregard them. There aren't any hard and fast rules in writing, which is the reason why I love it so much. It's all mine. I can create however I want to create. I do want people to read it someday, but I don't write to an audience, so to speak. Like, obviously all writers write to an audience, like your genre and the age category and stuff like that. But I don't write so that it's popular. I write it because I love it. And I encourage everyone else to do the same. Orion, get down. I have cats. I encourage everyone else to do the same, because you will find your tribe. You think that no one's gonna like to read what you write or like have the same taste as you, but I promise you aren't that original. Someone out there, lots of people out there, you're gonna have your own group that is going to absolutely love what you write. So always write for yourself. Always write what you want to read. I'll stop rambling now and we'll just go ahead and get into the do's and don'ts. So number one is, do create a rich backstory for your characters, especially if that character is your main character or your protagonist, because we are going to be following them from the start. This is the character that we are going to be rooting for, that we are going to use for context for all of the world history, magical systems, the plot itself. All of that only matters because we care about your main character. So you want to make your main character someone that is engaging to the reader. Lots of people like to do like a character profile type thing, like this character is 6 foot tall, dark hair, green eyes, dislikes football, loves ponies. I don't know, but like they like to do like a little character profile and just have like little facts about their characters there. And I'm not saying that doesn't work, because I'm sure that it's worked for other authors, other writers. But me personally, it doesn't work because I tend to just see it as something kind of flat and bland, and it doesn't make me connect with my character. It doesn't make them seem real to me. I just see a list of facts and I'm like, yawn. But that's me. That's not everybody. So what does work for me, and I actually just discovered this with this book that I'm working on. What worked for me with Julian is I went into a separate document and I wrote his entire past, not his entire past, but the relevant parts of his past that shaped who he is as a person before he entered REM. And I wrote that all in prose. I didn't just write like a quick synopsis where it was like just a list of facts, like this is what happened this time when he was this age, and this is what happened when this happened, and this is how he felt. I didn't do it like that. I wrote it like it was its own standalone story. And it is time consuming. It does take time to do that. But at the end of it, I felt so connected to Julian. Like, he feels like a real person to me now. He could have actually existed. That's how real he is to me. So yeah, definitely want to create a rich backstory for your characters. It's going to make them come across as real to your readers, and it's going to make it to where they can suspend disbelief that this character would actually exist in real life. So keep that in mind. And then we'll move on to number 2, which is put your characters in relatable situations that we can empathize with. So this I talked about in the last video a little bit, but relatable situations aren't always easy whenever you are writing fantasy or sci-fi. Like, you've never transformed into a werewolf, never been sired by a vampire, you've probably never encountered aliens. If you have, that's kind of cool. Let me know, DM me. But no, it can be difficult when you're writing fantasy or sci-fi because you haven't been in those situations before. You might be a little confused about how you can make that relatable to your readers. It's as simple as thinking about how you would feel in that situation and then projecting those feelings onto your character, because feelings are pretty much universal. Everybody has experienced a wide range of emotions throughout their life, hopefully. So those emotions are going to trigger something in their mind that's going to remind them of something else that's happened in their own lives. So the pain and the confusion whenever, like, you know, somebody's being bitten by a vampire or something, and they're about to change into this new creature and their entire life's going to be changed. We've all experienced that to some level. Like, we've all experienced pain. We've all experienced fear. We've all experienced that uncertainty when our life takes an unexpected turn, for the most part. So those feelings are going to be what helps us to relate to your character. So make sure that when you're putting them in these outrageous situations, that the truth that you put in there with it is the feelings and emotions that your character is feeling. I always say that the best writing is mostly truth, like 90% truth, with some lies peppered in. And that's the best way to get somebody to believe a lie, is to add some truth to it. And that brings us to number 3, engage the 5 senses. 5. 5 senses. Engage the 5 senses. I'm really heavy on sight. Maybe it's because my vision's so bad. Like, when I take off my glasses, I can't see anything. My face is blurry. I look a lot prettier. Okay, I quit. But no, I really am very big on the sense of sight when I'm writing. It's always, they gazed, they locked gazes, they glanced, they glared, you know, like that's my main thing. And I have to stop myself. Like, I even go so far as, like, when I try to add new senses, I do like expressions and stuff like that, and I'll use eyebrows. He cocked his eyebrow. His eyebrows rose. He furrowed his eyebrows. Stop! So a lot of my editing, and sometimes a lot of my drafting, I have to stop and think about what I'm writing. Like, I have used sight so much. What's he tasting right now? Is there anything that you can taste? What's he feeling? How's his skin feel? You know, the smells, hearing. People are talking. Is there a leaky faucet somewhere? Like, you have to focus on the other senses. You can't just stick with one, which I understand, like, getting stuck on one and that's the one that you want to stick with. But engaging the 5 senses is the best way to immerse your readers in the story and have it told from your character's perspective. Your readers only know what your main character or your protagonist will actually feel and experience himself or herself or themselves. So you want to make sure that you are giving them the full experience by making sure that you're giving your main character the full experience. And that's basically all I have for this one. So then we'll just go ahead and move on to some don'ts. The first don't is going to be don't rely on tics. I see this a lot in some of the recent books that I've been reading. I'm not going to mention any because that would be lame. But I've noticed people focusing on tics aren't characterization. So if your character is constantly spinning their hair or chewing their fingers or chewing their lips or, you know, doing certain things like that, that's not giving your character a personality. That's giving your character a crutch. That's just a thing that she does. Isn't that just so? Isn't that just so this character? Do something a little bit more substantial. You want your character to be seen as someone deep and complex, just like a regular human is for the most part. So having relying heavily on that with them twirling their hair or pulling their earlobe or something like that, isn't, it more distracts from the story. If like personally, I feel like it detracts from the story because I'm focusing on that. I'm like, how many times is this chick gonna freaking twirl her hair? I notice it when it's happened for like the 7th or 8th time. I'm like, holy crap, stop. I get it, you're nervous. There's other ways that you can express that. And I think a lot of the times, writers will rely on that, or on a tick or something like that, in order to avoid engaging the 5 senses. They're like, okay, well, I need to show my readers that my character is nervous right now, so I'm going to have her twirl her hair. By the end of this novel, she's going to be bald. Stop. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. This is just my personal don't. So take from it what you will. Don't rely on stereotypes. We all know the stereotypes. The shallow cheerleader, the brainless jock, the father who wants you to play football instead of being gay. That's Miles's dad. I need to work on that. He was such a cliche. I need to throw it out. Anyway, though, these stereotypes are already overdone. People already expect them whenever they're reading a book. So when they see a cheerleader, the first thing they're thinking is, oh, she's really shallow. She doesn't care about anybody else. Or she's been through some, like, her home life's not all that great. So that's why she acts the way she does. We expect that. So try to steer clear of stereotypes. I would. And do something different with them. It's always great when you can surprise your reader and challenge their expectations for your novel. I love, personally, to be surprised by a novel. Like, I like when I'm expecting it to go one way and then it goes an entirely different way. And it's refreshing. Don't make them too indecisive. I discovered that I didn't like this when I wrote Miles in the first draft. See, I didn't want them to get together right away. So I kept drawing it out. I kept having Miles go like, oh, I don't know if, like, I want to do this. I don't know, how I feel about this, and I still got this issue. And, if your characters are ready for something before you're ready, well, that was your problem with the whole not outlining thing. But you need to make sure that you let your characters do what they would naturally do. So if you made the mistake, like I did, where you didn't outline properly and your characters are ahead of schedule, well, that's your problem. Either rewrite what you already wrote or change the outline. I usually opt for changing the outline. I decide, okay, well, this is what they're doing now. So, and that's what I'm doing in this book, in RemWorld right now, is I'm just going to have them get together where they get together. And then I will add in new conflict if necessary. But I don't think it will be. But yeah, so you just don't make them drag their feet just for the sake of following your outline. If they're ready, they're ready. Now you need to get ready. But again, that's just my personal pet peeve. It's something that I read in my own writing that I decided I didn't like, and I thought that I would share that with you because chances are, if I'm going through it, other writers out there are going through it too. Don't struggle like I did, because now I gotta rewrite a whole bunch of crap. All right, and now for the final one is number 7. Eliminate filter words. What are filter words? Filter words are things like Julian saw a character do a thing. Julian heard a sound in the next room. What these words do is they give us a second step that we have to go through before we actually see what's happening in the scene. It slows down the action, and it kind of puts up a barrier between your reader and what's happening, the events that are occurring. So what you can do is you can just take out those first couple of words. Instead of Julian saw a character do a thing, the character did a thing. There you go. And now you've also eliminated 2 extra words. So you're kind of cutting down on your word count as well. you're improving your reader's experience, and you're trimming your word count, which is really important for overwriters like me, who writes 140,000 words and then has to delete like 20,000 words of it. So yeah, eliminate those first couple of words that muffle the experience for your reader, and your writing's going to come off a lot cleaner, and we're going to be able to connect more with the story, and that's it. So that's the end of these tips. Again, these are my personal feelings. This is my personal do's and don'ts list. So if any of these don't resonate with you, throw them out, ignore them. It's not a big deal. This is your book, not mine. You write your story however you feel compelled to lead your story. So yeah, don't take any of these as hard and fast rules, because if there's one thing I absolutely hate in writing is when somebody tells me that I can't do something. A little bit of an authority issue. So do what you want, but if any of these were helpful to you, let me know in the comments. And also, if you have an idea for another video, I'd love to hear about that too. So like the video, subscribe, make sure to hit the little button, the little bell thingy down there. That way you get notifications on YouTube whenever I post something new, if you like to hear my voice as much as I do. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.